What the weirdest thing you did while you were high? I set a hot pocket in the microwave and put in my pin number for the cook time. Still cold in the middle. One time years ago I was camping at a campground with my wife and a few friends. We're all sitting around the fire drinking. Her brother and I go for a walk to smoke. We finish that and I have to piss, so he goes back to the group. And when I'm done I head back as well. So I get back and I'm pretty baked at this point and I'm just standing there watching the fire and drinking my beer for a few minutes. I then noticed a particular Coleman lantern on the picnic table and thought to myself, I don't remember us having one of those here. It was at that point that I realized I was standing at the wrong damned campsite. Amongst a bunch of people I have never met. While my group was watching from the next site over. Laughing and wondering WTF I was doing. The strangers have a much scarier version of this same exact story. Freaked out that I'd lost my iPod somewhere on the way to the train station. I got off the train and went back. Retracing my steps all the way back to my apartment. Only to realize that I was listening to music the whole time. On my iPod. I did that without being high. Ate a bunch of jalapeno poppers. Not that weird. No. The weird part was the calendar appointment I made for myself the next morning that just said ha 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 ha. Jaime apparently predicted the right time for my morning bowel movement. And as those little jalapeno poppers burned again on the way out, he reached out across time and space to laugh at sober me about it. Standing by the sink. Weeping as I tore into the most juicy and delicious whole ripe mango. In my mind I thought it was some sort of alien creature and it was giving its life in exchange for my pleasure. I thought it was the most beautiful, selfless act anything had ever done for me and was overcome by emotion. I must have looked like a goddamn weirdo, but it was still a beautiful moment. I remember a roommate coming into the kitchen and asking what was wrong because I was crying and whispering thank you. Thank you to the fruit. Went to White Castle to get food for everyone after we smoked. We all had the same order. 2 double cheese sliders and an order or mozzarella sticks. When I gave her my order I didn't just say that I wanted 8 double cheese sliders in total. I repeated the 2 double cheese sliders and mozzarella sticks 4 times. By the time I got to the end of my order the cashier sounded so defeated. I still cringe thinking back to that moment. But it's also one of my funniest smoke stories. Spent 45 minutes looking for my glasses with my friend. Said F at BC I had to leave and was now running late. When I went to put on my sunglasses I smashed them onto my glasses. I had my glasses on my effing face the whole time and neither myself or my friend noticed. That's on him. 100%. I was on at a music festival and asked a cop if he would name a hurricane after me. Fortunately he thought that was funny. This one time I was coming up morning of day 2 Coachella and had just gotten to the bank of lockers where our group's stuff was stored. I was reaching for the locker but just couldn't get to it and the key wouldn't go in. My friend walks up to me, grabs the key out of my hand and I swear in one step traverses the distance of a football field and unlocks the door. Turns out the hit had just hit me like a freight train and I was on my hands and knees in the grass about 6 feet from the locker with my arm outstretched trying to insert the key. Depth perception, man. That was a great day. Got up to leave my bedroom and knocked on the door before opening it to go out. Ordered food for delivery. Forgot. Went to grocery store for stuff to BBQ. Remembered about the food for delivery while paying in line. One time I came back inside from a back porch smoke and put my lighter in the sink. My reasoning was I'll put it in the dishwasher later. It's not that weird. But I get really weird sensations when I'm high. Other people probably get it too but I just don't know how to describe it. But one time I was just rubbing my leg a little because I was cold. And my friend was sitting next to me. So then I was like, well, I can feel my hand and I can feel my leg. I wonder if I can feel hers. So I rubbed her leg and was like, wow. I can't feel it and I didn't really understand why. My friend just laughed at how stupid I was, lmao. completely freaked out because everyone around me was speaking a foreign language and I couldn't understand anything. Note to self: don't get high in a foreign country. Eating yogurt with a fork in front of my parents. My dad waited for about 10 minutes to say that a spoon might make it easier. I just imagine a slightly disappointed look on your father's face as he leans against the counter watching you attempt this and wondering if he should say anything. Ate a whole bowl of cereal with a fork. Took me like 2 minutes to figure out why TF it was taking so long and why I wasn't getting any milk. Blew on my cereal to cool it down. Hey, you can never be too careful. The very first time I got high, my lovely friend told me you'll know when you've had enough, so of course I smoked a ton. When I wasn't moving, it felt like time had stopped. I had no idea what was going on. If I moved though, I was completely fine. I ended up dancing to no music by myself as long as I could before I went to sleep. I think I went to sleep anyway. Time wasn't working. I may have just laid there for 8 hours. I hate how time just kinda breaks. Went to let the dog out and I walked out instead and left my dog inside. I was living on my own in an apartment for the first time. And one of my first investments was a sheet, 100 doses, of acid. I was gobbling them up at an insane rate. Tolerance builds pretty quickly to acid. So by this point I wasn't seeing acid Y things anymore. But I was thinking acid Y thoughts. Like for instance, I wasn't taking trash out because I thought my building would see me hauling out a bunch of trash bags and think, that dude's got a lot of trash. He's a dirty dude. And that then they'd either kick me out or call the police on me. So I opted instead to let the trash pile up around me. I also thought I was going to be a writer for The Simpsons. Anyway, it all came to a head about 2 months into my heavy acid use. In about 8 weeks I had eaten about 80 tabs of acid. I was feeling pretty fried. And I was trying to make myself some pancakes. I had this plate that was covered in pancake batter and I thought, man, F this. I gave up. And threw the batter covered plate into the dishwasher and turned it on. I heard click click gurgle gurgle gurgle. I walk over to check. And find that I've broken the absolute shout of my dishwasher. And now there's black water pooling up at the bottom of it. The new paranoid thought was that my building would charge me to replace the dishwasher. I was freaked out. Until I had a master stroke of genius. What if, I thought, I just throw away all my dishes? What? Asked the last rational part of my brain. To which Acid Brain responded, hear me out. Hear me out. Here's the plan. Step 1. We throw away the dishes. Then, when the apartment building asks, did you break your dishwasher? I can't get real indignant and say, what? Break my dishwasher? You fools. I don't even own dishes. And then I threw away all my dishes. That was several years ago. And I still haven't replaced all of them. I stared at ants outside for a solid hour and a half. Just going about their business. I'm not too fond of insects sober. But when I'm high they're so goddamn interesting. Every time I get stoned, I just want to confine myself to the smallest space possible. It's not a fear or anxiety thing. Stoned me genuinely feels more comfortable under a table or bed. Or even inside a cardboard box this one time. Are you a cat? If I fits I sits. I thought that if I became rich, I'd keep all my money in pennies to prevent people from stealing it. Also once tried roasting a hot dog with no stick. Just holding the wiener in my hand over an open flame. It did not work. It didn't work cause you didn't try hard enough. Used my phone torch to find my phone in the dark. I drove for Uber and a drink guy in my car used his phone torch to check the time on his wristwatch. I started to get random sensations all over my body. The inside of my left thigh was getting really warm and I had to keep checking every few minutes to see I hadn't pissed myself. I ate mushrooms by myself and some guy dropped off pizza at my house so I signed for it. Only thing is, I didn't order any pizzas. My boyfriend came home and said you ordered pizza. It had been sitting on the table for hours. I thought I dreamt it. Whoops. The guy came to the very wrong house. But I did tip him handsomely, so I did the right thing. Got high in a soccer field after dark. Laying down. Looking up at the stars. I suddenly felt a spin so bad that I grabbed onto the grass cause I swear I was going to call off the planet. Good thing you did. If you didn't, you would have been abducted by the aliens. I was fed up looking for my hotel in Atlantic City. Somehow got there and woke up the next morning to just hotel being in the search bar of my Spotify. That was my best effort. I was holding my cat next to the sink and somehow he just looked like he really wanted to get in the sink and take a bath. So I turned on the water just a trickle and edged him closer and closer to the faucet, whispering to him, "Hey buddy. Don't you wanna take a dip?" In my mind he totally did and was just too nervous to admit it. In real life, he's a cat and cats don't like water. So if you could have looked in on this scene, you would have seen me high as hell, murmuring to the cat and trying to dunk him in the sink. All the while he is frantically clawing me to shreds trying to escape, and I am not noticing in my single-minded pursuit of finally letting him experience water. Edit. Thanks for the upvotes and silvers. Pals. Here's the chunkster himself. https://imga.com/xfamlf